might be the truck that finally admits something the entire industry has been ignoring for years. No one expected a major manufacturer to actually walk backward on sizing, but that's exactly what's happening right now. And once you understand why, you'll see this isn't a small story. It's a genuine correction to where trucks went wrong. You're watching Auto Insights, and today, we're breaking down everything we know about the 2027 Toyota Stout and why the timing behind this launch might matter just as much as the truck itself. And honestly, there's a lot more strategy hiding inside this launch than people realize. So stick with me, because by the end of this video, you'll understand exactly why this small truck could end up mattering more than almost anything else Toyota launches this decade. Let's start with the bigger picture, because that's really where this story begins. For the better part of 2 decades, the truck industry moved in one direction, and only one direction. Bigger, more powerful, more luxurious, more expensive. Modern full-size trucks now routinely cost over $70,000, and some configurations push past 6 figures entirely. Those trucks are genuinely impressive machines. But that constant upward climb also made trucks inaccessible for a huge number of buyers, especially younger buyers, first-time truck owners, small business operators, and everyday people who simply never needed a massive pickup in the first place. And that steady upward drift quietly created a gap. A real, meaningful gap, sitting right in the middle of the market, one that almost nobody was building for anymore. Then something shifted. The Ford Maverick launched, and it became an enormous success almost overnight. The Hyundai Santa Cruz found its own audience by blending SUV practicality with genuine truck utility, and suddenly, an entire segment of buyers realized something simple, something the industry had somehow lost sight of. Not everyone needs a giant truck. Sometimes people just want better fuel economy, more reasonable pricing, easier parking, and honest, everyday usability, without any of the excess. And this is exactly where the 2027 Toyota Stout appears to be aiming, right into the center of that gap. Here's where it gets interesting, though. Toyota already understands this exact kind of market extremely well, because they've spent decades building a reputation around reliability and practicality, rather than flash. Vehicles like the Tacoma, the Corolla, and the RAV4 didn't become massive successes because they were the most exciting vehicles on the road. They became successes because people genuinely trusted them, year after year, generation after generation. If Toyota applies that same underlying philosophy to a compact truck, the potential here becomes genuinely enormous. Let's talk about the name itself for a moment, because it's not a random marketing choice. Toyota actually used the Stout name decades ago on small pickup trucks, long before modern mid-sized trucks became the dominant category we know today. So bringing that name back carries real historical weight, not just nostalgic decoration. Automakers love reviving heritage names for exactly this reason. They create instant recognition and emotional resonance, especially in a segment where nostalgia genuinely moves buyers. And in the truck world specifically, nostalgia matters more than almost any other category in the entire automotive industry. Stay with me, because this next part changes how you should think about the design direction entirely. Most early renderings and industry speculation point towards something that reads like a smaller Tacoma, blended with modern Toyota SUV styling, an aggressive front grille, sharp LED headlights, wide fenders, and an overall practical, unibody, influenced design language throughout. And honestly, that direction makes complete sense, because the market simply doesn't want basic, stripped-down looking compact trucks anymore. Buyers want something that feels genuinely modern and current, even at an affordable price point. And Toyota clearly understands that expectation. Let's talk about the platform underneath all of this, because it's one of the most important details in this entire story. If the Stout arrives as expected, there's a strong likelihood Toyota uses a unibody platform rather than a traditional body-on-frame setup. Why does that matter so much? Because unibody trucks are lighter, more fuel efficient, noticeably more comfortable for daily driving, and genuinely cheaper to produce at scale. That's exactly the formula that made the Ford Maverick such a runaway success in the first place. It behaves far more like a crossover SUV than a traditional pickup, and a huge number of buyers actually prefer that driving character, especially urban commuters, daily drivers, and people who only occasionally need genuine truck capability. Now here's where Toyota could become genuinely dangerous in this specific segment, hybrid technology. Because unlike a lot of competitors still catching up in this space, Toyota already dominates hybrid engineering. If the Stout launches with a genuine hybrid option, that alone could immediately become one of its single biggest selling points. Imagine a compact Toyota pickup delivering excellent fuel economy, while still offering real, practical utility. That combination alone would pull in a massive number of buyers, especially as fuel prices continue fluctuating unpredictably year after year. And wait, it gets even better, because this isn't Toyota experimenting with unproven technology for the first time. Toyota's hybrid strategy has already proven itself successful across an enormous range of vehicle categories. The RAV4 hybrid became incredibly popular almost immediately. The Prius helped define what a hybrid vehicle even meant for an entire generation of drivers. And even Toyota's larger trucks and SUVs now regularly offer hybrid powertrains as genuinely mainstream options, not niche afterthoughts. Applying that same proven technology to a compact truck feels like an obvious, almost inevitable next step, rather than a risky gamble. Let's talk about power for a moment, because expectations need to stay realistic here. A compact truck like the rumored Stout probably isn't going to compete directly with full-size performance trucks on raw output, and honestly, it was never designed to. Instead, expect a focus on efficiency and balanced, everyday capability. Most industry speculation currently points toward turbocharged four-cylinder hybrid powertrain options, possibly reaching somewhere around 250 horsepower, depending on the exact configuration selected. And honestly, that's more than enough for this category, because compact truck buyers typically care far more about genuine usability than chasing extreme towing numbers they'll rarely, if ever, actually use. But here's something important worth addressing honestly. Cheap in today's market doesn't mean truly cheap anymore, not in the traditional sense buyers might remember from a decade ago. Truck prices across the entire industry have climbed steadily. Material costs, advanced technology, mandatory safety systems, production expenses, everything costs more to build than it used to. So even if the Stout arrives as a genuinely affordable truck relative to its segment, it probably won't be inexpensive in an absolute sense, especially compared to what buyers might remember paying for a basic truck years ago. Still, compared to modern midsize and full-size trucks, it could feel genuinely affordable, and that distinction matters enormously, because affordability perception has become one of the biggest sources of frustration across the entire automotive market right now, especially here in America. Most people are missing this detail though, and it's genuinely worth pausing on. Let's talk about why the timing behind this launch matters so much, because this truck could be arriving at almost exactly the right moment. Consumer behavior is genuinely changing. Younger buyers are prioritizing practicality over raw size and status. Fuel economy matters more to household budgets than it has in years. Urban living continues increasing steadily, making massive vehicles genuinely harder to justify for a growing number of people. At the same time, truck culture in America remains remarkably strong. People still want pickups. They just don't necessarily want giant ones anymore. And that shift is exactly why smaller trucks are growing again after years of being almost entirely ignored by the industry. Let's talk about competition for a moment, because this segment is becoming crowded very quickly, and Toyota won't be entering an empty space. The Ford Maverick already proved there's genuinely strong, sustained demand for this exact kind of vehicle. The Hyundai Santa Cruz carved out its own distinct niche, and other manufacturers are reportedly exploring smaller truck concepts of their own, watching this segment grow with real interest. So if Toyota enters this market, they're stepping into real, established competition, not an open field. But they might be entering with one genuinely enormous advantage that's difficult for any rival to quickly replicate: trust. Toyota has one of the strongest reputations in the entire auto industry, built specifically around reliability, resale value, and long-term ownership confidence. Those qualities matter enormously in affordable vehicle segments, especially for buyers who plan to keep their vehicle for many years, rather than trading it in every 2 or 3 seasons. This is genuinely where Toyota could end up dominating, because imagine combining decades of Toyota reliability, genuine hybrid efficiency, honest compact truck practicality, and competitive pricing, all in a single package. That's an extremely strong formula on paper, and one that's genuinely difficult for competitors to match quickly. But here's the thing, it's not all smooth sailing. There's a real twist worth addressing honestly. Let's talk about what could actually stop this truck from succeeding, because there are genuine risks sitting underneath all of this potential. One major issue is pricing discipline. If Toyota prices the Stout too close to the Tacoma, buyers might simply choose the larger, more capable truck instead, creating direct internal overlap that ends up hurting sales of both vehicles, rather than expanding Toyota's overall truck business. Another real challenge is managing buyer expectations around capability. Compact trucks work best when expectations stay grounded in reality. But if buyers walk in expecting heavy, duty towing or extreme off-road performance from a vehicle built primarily around daily practicality, that mismatch could genuinely become a problem, regardless of how well engineered the truck actually is for its intended purpose. And then there's the biggest challenge of all sitting underneath everything else: production strategy. Demand for genuinely affordable vehicles is extremely high right now across nearly every category, but profit margins on smaller, more affordable vehicles are typically thinner than on larger, more expensive trucks, which means automakers need real production efficiency and disciplined cost management to make these vehicles financially successful at scale. And that balance is genuinely difficult to strike, even for a manufacturer with Toyota's resources and manufacturing experience. This could be a genuinely risky move for Toyota, and here's exactly why. If Toyota can't manage that balance between accessible pricing and sustainable profit margins, the Stout could end up either priced too high to fulfill its original promise, or profitable enough to justify continued production, but not both simultaneously. That tension sits at the very center of this entire launch, and it's exactly the kind of strategic challenge that determines whether a genuinely promising concept actually succeeds in the real world or quietly underperforms despite strong initial excitement. Stay with me, because this next part zooms out to something bigger than just this one truck. Let's talk about where the overall truck market is actually heading, because this story is genuinely about more than just Toyota. For decades, the American truck market kept moving steadily upward. Bigger trucks, more luxury, more power, consistently higher prices year after year. But eventually, that constant upward climb creates real opportunity underneath it. And compact trucks are filling that opportunity right now, in real time. The genuinely interesting part is that many buyers entering this specific segment aren't traditional truck buyers at all. Some are coming from SUVs. Some are coming from sedans. Some simply want genuine flexibility without spending an enormous amount of money to get it. And that shift fundamentally changes how these vehicles get designed from the ground up. Modern compact trucks are no longer stripped down, purely functional work vehicles built for tradespeople alone. They're becoming genuine lifestyle vehicles, daily use vehicles, thoughtfully practical vehicles built for a completely different kind of buyer than what the industry traditionally imagined when it thought about pickup trucks. That's a completely different design and marketing strategy than what dominated this industry for decades. And it's exactly the shift Toyota appears to be positioning the Stout to capture. Now imagine if Toyota fully commits to this entire category, not just with a single truck, but with a broader, sustained strategy built around affordable efficiency across their lineup. That kind of commitment could become genuinely powerful over the next decade, especially as consumer preferences continue evolving in this same direction. And honestly, that might be the biggest reason so many people are genuinely excited about the rumored Stout. Not because it's going to be the fastest truck on the market, not because it's going to be the most powerful, but because it feels realistic, genuinely attainable, and honestly useful. And in today's market, that combination matters more than almost anything else. Because right now, a huge number of buyers feel genuinely disconnected from modern trucks. Prices feel too high. Vehicles feel too large. Monthly payments keep climbing steadily year after year with no real relief in sight. So when people hear rumors about a smaller, genuinely more affordable Toyota pickup, attention follows almost immediately because it represents something the market has been quietly missing for years. Let's talk about design details a little more specifically, because the early picture forming here is genuinely compelling. Expect bold, confident front end styling, with Toyota's lettering treatment stretching prominently across the grille rather than relying on a traditional badge alone, giving the truck an assertive, unmistakable presence even before you notice the smaller overall footprint. Sharp LED lighting front and back, wide fender flares that hint at genuine capability without tipping into costume territory, and a full, width-LED tail light signature stretching across the tailgate, giving the truck a distinctive look you'd recognize in traffic before you even read the badge. This isn't a truck trying to hide its smaller size. It's a truck confidently owning its compact footprint as a genuine advantage, rather than treating it as a compromise buyers need to accept. Let's talk about the interior for a moment too, because this is where a lot of buyers form their real, lasting impression of a vehicle. Early expectations point toward a genuinely modern cabin, a large central touchscreen dominating the dashboard, wireless smartphone connectivity, and possibly a fully digital instrument cluster on higher trims. But here's the detail worth specifically highlighting. Physical buttons for climate control are expected to remain in place, rather than getting buried inside touchscreen, meant purely to look minimalist. That decision alone tells you something meaningful about who Toyota is building this truck for: buyers who want genuine modern technology without sacrificing the simple, reliable usability that's defined Toyota's reputation for decades. Let's bring this whole picture together for a moment, because there's a lot to process across everything we've covered today. The 2027 Toyota Stout represents something genuinely bigger than just another new truck entering an already crowded market. It represents a direct response to a gap the entire industry quietly created over the past 2 decades by chasing bigger, more expensive, more luxurious trucks year after year, while gradually leaving an enormous number of practical, budget-conscious buyers behind entirely. Toyota's proven hybrid expertise, decades of earned reliability trust, and a genuinely thoughtful, modern design direction all combine into a formula that's difficult for competitors to quickly replicate, even runs with a meaningful head start in this exact segment. But it also comes with real, honest risk. Pricing discipline against Toyota's own Tacoma, managing buyer expectations around genuine capability limits, and the constant challenge of maintaining production efficiency on a vehicle built specifically around thin margins and high accessibility. None of that risk is small, and none of it should be dismissed just because the underlying concept sounds genuinely compelling on paper. If Toyota executes this correctly, the Stout doesn't just become a successful addition to an already strong lineup. It becomes the truck that proves an entire industry's assumption wrong. The assumption that bigger, more expensive, and more luxurious was always automatically the right direction for trucks to keep moving in. If this actually launches the way current reporting and speculation suggests, it's genuinely going to force every other manufacturer watching this segment to take it seriously. The Maverick will have to keep innovating just to hold its lead. The Santa Cruz will have to sharpen its own identity even further. And manufacturers still sitting on the sidelines, wondering whether this segment is worth entering, might finally get the confirmation they needed once they see Toyota's name attached to it. And that is exactly why people are paying such close attention to this rumored launch, months before Toyota has even confirmed a single official detail. So let's ask the real question here. Is the 2027 Toyota Stout actually the truck this market has been quietly waiting for? If you're someone who's felt genuinely priced out of modern trucks, someone who values long-term reliability and honest fuel efficiency over raw size and horsepower, the early signs strongly suggest this could be exactly the vehicle you've been waiting for without even realizing it. But if you need serious towing capacity, maximum payload, or performance that rivals a genuine midsize or full-size truck, this compact pickup was likely never built with you specifically in mind. And that's an honest, fair thing to acknowledge rather than overlook. That's the honest truth sitting underneath all of this excitement. No single truck fits every buyer perfectly. But for the specific, genuinely underserved gap this truck appears to be aiming at, the Stout looks like it's arriving at exactly the right moment, with exactly the right underlying philosophy to make a real, lasting impact. And this is exactly why Auto Insights is going to keep a very close eye on this story as more official details finally arrive from Toyota. Before you go, we want to hear from you. Do you think the truck market genuinely needs to shrink back down, the way the Stout seems to be suggesting? Or do you think buyers will always eventually gravitate back toward bigger, more powerful trucks no matter what alternatives get introduced? Drop your honest thoughts in the comments below, because this is exactly the kind of debate that makes this segment so much fun to follow closely. If you found this breakdown helpful, make sure to hit like on this video and subscribe to Auto Insights. We're going to be tracking every official update on the 2027 Toyota Stout the moment Toyota confirms it, along with deep breakdowns on every other major truck launch happening across the industry this year. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one.